Okay, let's unpack this. We're all so connected, right? All the time. But what actually happens if the internet just goes dark?
Right. Or maybe even a bit more subtle. What about the apps we use every day? Knowing maybe a bit too much about us.
Exactly. And that brings us to today's deep dive, Jack Dorsey's latest venture, Bitchat.
Ah, yes, Bitchat.
And the really head-scratching part.
Yeah.
It's designed to run without the internet.
Yeah, just using Bluetooth. It sounds kind of impossible at first.
Totally. So our mission today is to really get under the hood. What is BitChat? How does it pull this off? Why now? And what's it telling us about where private communication might be heading?
It's a really fascinating move, isn't it? Because Bitchat, well, it tackles these big worries about privacy, about always being available, but in a really different way.
A novel way, yeah.
Definitely. And you have to remember, Dorsey's background, co-founder of Twitter, CEO of Block, he knows the tech world, the power structures.
He certainly has the credentials.
For sure. And this whole project, it makes you ask, can we actually communicate freely and securely without some big company in the middle? What does that even look like in practice?
That really is the core question. So, okay, let's start with the big idea, the vision. Internet-free, decentralized chat.
Right. So at its heart, it is a messaging app. But the absolute key thing, the differentiator, is it runs over Bluetooth low-energy BLE mesh networks.
Okay, mesh networks, we'll need to break that down. But first, the white paper really hammers home its independence, right?
Yeah.
From the regular internet.
Oh, absolutely. It's fundamental. The paper says it provides ephemeral, encrypted communication without relying on internet infrastructure.
Which makes it resilient.
Making it resilient to network outages and censorship. Exactly. That's the promise. Now, think about the contrast with, say, WhatsApp or Messenger.
Both Meta apps.
Right. Run by Meta. And let's be honest, they're profit-driven. Your data, your messages, sometimes that is the product. There was that Cointelegraph report back in April talking about how much data these apps can hoover up.
Yeah, I remember that. Creepy stuff.
So Bitchat is trying to completely sidestep that whole model by design.
So it's more than just tech. It's like a philosophical stance.
Yeah.
Dorsey mentioned it having IRC vibes.
Yeah, that reference to internet relay chat from the early web days.
Takes you back.
Yeah.
But it's not just nostalgia, is it? It seems like it's taking that basic directness but layering on serious modern privacy.
Precisely. Because of the very problems we just talked about with current apps. And that philosophy, it shapes the whole architecture. It's completely decentralized, meaning no central servers holding everything, no records kept by default. The white paper's really explicit. No central servers, no accounts to sign up for, no email, no phone number needed.
Wow.
And it pushes this idea of ephemeral messaging. So messages just live in your phone's memory unless you actively save them. They're not logged on some company database somewhere.
And encrypted, you say?
End-to-end encrypted, yeah. For security.
Okay, that sounds amazing for privacy. But wait, if there are no accounts, no phone numbers, how do you find anyone? How do you have a group chat? Or stop misuse if nobody's identifiable?
That's a really good question. And it points to some clever design choices. You're right, no traditional usernames. Instead, Bitchat uses these room-based chats.
Rooms?
Yeah, named with hashtags like hashtag conference hall B or hashtag neighborhood watch. And you can password protect them too for privacy.
Okay, so how do you join a room?
You basically need to be physically near other Bitchat users who are part of that mesh network. Proximity is key. It's kind of an organic discovery method, really leaning into local community-based communication.
It's very much about who's physically around you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the magic then, this mesh network.
Mm-hmm.
How does it actually pass messages along without the internet?
Right, the mechanics. It's pretty neat. In a Bluetooth mesh, every phone running Bitchat acts as both a client and a peripheral.
Meaning it sends and receives?
And relays. That's the crucial part. It creates this self-organizing mesh. So your message might hop from your phone to mine, then from my phone to someone else's, and so on. They call it multi-hop message relaying.
So it extends the range way beyond just one Bluetooth connection.
Exactly. That typical 30-meter Bluetooth range gets multiplied. In a dense area, you could theoretically cover quite a distance. Hundreds of meters, maybe more. And they mention bridge nodes, too.
What do those do?
Think of them as ways to link separate clusters of devices, almost like repeaters, extending the reach even further.
Gotcha. Like a chain reaction of devices passing the message along.
Huh.
Okay, but what if someone's phone is off or they walk out of range? Is the message just lost?
Good point. No, that's where the store and forward system comes in. If someone's offline, other nearby devices in the mesh will actually hold on to the message for them, temporarily cache it,
Seriously.
yeah, for a set amount of time. Then, when the recipient's device comes back online and rejoins the mesh, those cached messages get delivered. It's built for patchy connections.
That's clever. Really built for resilience.
Definitely. And messages have different encryption types too. Private, one-to-one, room-based, or like a general broadcast. And for efficiency, because Bluetooth isn't super high bandwidth.
Right, you can't send huge files easily.
Exactly. So larger messages get broken down into smaller chunks, about 500 bytes each, sent separately, and then put back together on the other end.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Very optimized for the limitations.
Mm.
And you mentioned they might add Wi-Fi later.
Yeah, the white paper hints at possibly enabling messaging over Wi-Fi in the future, which would obviously boost the bandwidth for bigger stuff without ditching the core Bluetooth mesh for basic operation.
Okay, so technically fascinating. But let's talk real world. Forget the tech for a sec. Where would you actually use this? Where is it genuinely valuable?
Well, this is where it gets really practical. Think about big conferences or music
Oh
festivals.
yeah, the Wi-Fi is always terrible or totally overloaded.
Exactly. You're trying to find your friends or colleagues, and your normal apps just won't connect. Bitchat could work perfectly there. Or think bigger disaster areas.
Right, when cell towers are down, internet cables cut.
Precisely. When the normal infrastructure is gone, BitChat could be a literal lifeline for coordination, for rescue teams, for communities. The paper sums it up well. It's for any scenario where internet infrastructure is unavailable, unreliable, or untrusted.
The untrusted part is interesting too, like maybe during protests.
That's certainly a potential use case people discuss, where centralized networks might be monitored or even shut down.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I've been at countless events where just trying to send a simple "Where are you?" message is impossible because the network's jammed. This sounds like a fix for that basic problem.
It really does. It empowers communication right when you need it without relying on anything external. The paper's conclusion is pretty direct. It shows secure, private messaging is possible without centralized infrastructure and provides resilient communication that works anywhere people gather.
Regardless of internet availability. That's a powerful statement.
And it fits a pattern with Dorsey, doesn't it? This isn't his first foray into decentralization.
You mean Bluesky?
Exactly. He started Bluesky, the decentralized social platform, back in 2019 when he was still running Twitter. He only stepped down from their board fairly recently, May 2024.
So he's been thinking about this stuff for a while.
Seems like it. Bitchat feels like another step in that same direction, trying to give power back to users, move away from these single points of failure or control. It's a consistent theme, this pursuit of digital sovereignty.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now? I think BitChat is this really fascinating return to basics almost.
Yeah, direct communication, privacy, resilience, but
Yeah.
using modern tech to do it.
Right, and it forces you to question that assumption that we need big tech companies or we need a constant internet pipe just to talk to each other digitally. That realization that maybe we don't. That's kind of the aha moment here.
Absolutely. And if you zoom out, look at the bigger picture, BitChat isn't just some new app. It feels more like a statement, doesn't it? About digital freedom, about who controls the conversation.
Yeah.
And in a world where we rely so much on internet connections that can be fragile or monitored or controlled, it really pushes a critical question on all of us. How much control are we actually okay with giving up over something as fundamental as talking to each other?
That's the provocative thought to leave people with.
Yeah, and maybe, just maybe, decentralized tech like BitChat is part of the answer to getting some of that control back, ensuring we can connect freely no matter what.